Hello everyone, today is the day 3 of the coding 100 days coding challenge. So in this we will be solving the problem B of Facebook Hackercup question X and O's. Okay, so this is a bit hard one, so I have modified the question and tried to solve it. I will be explaining the logic to you. I've not got the exact code, but the thing is that in the starting days we should more focus on the logic. So let's get started with the question. You are playing a game against an opponent on a grid of n cross n matrix. Okay, so n rows and n columns are there. All of the cells are initially empty and both the players normally take up turns. So basically what they are saying is we have the XO, the board we have here, in that it's already filled here. Okay, I'll be explaining you the question in brief. We have the board here of n cross n. For our simplicity we are just considering a board of 3 cross 3. Okay, so we'll have 3 columns and 3 rows, and the rest of the question also I'll explain like this only. What has happened till now is there in some places there is a dot, and in some places there is like x and y. Okay, so x and not y, o. Okay, so suppose that this is the board here and we have here dot. Okay, now suppose that I ask you how many x you want, you can put, and in how many ways you can get the answer. Okay, so how many x you want you can put here and how many answers you can get. In that way what will I answer is that if I put x here, 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 here. Okay, if I put all these places x, how many answers can I get? This will be one answer. Okay, if I put x here, let's put that and see. If I put x here, okay, this x here, this also x, and here also, and here also. Okay, and how many answers can I get? This one answer, second answer, and yeah, that's it. 2 answers we can get. Okay, in here we are not considering the diagonals. Okay, even if we have the possible answer, diagonals are not considered. Okay, so we have to count how many ways we can do this one. Like if you put the x values, how many answers can we get here? Different sets. Okay, that we have to calculate. So for that, what will be the approach of this problem is that first we'll have to count how many dots are there. These are the empty spaces. Like in this there is no o, so we can put here x, and here we can't put because o is there, so it will not form any possible answer. Same thing we will check for this one also. Here also we have the possible answer, we can put x in all of these, but here we can't put because o is there. So what we are basically checking is in each row and column, if o is there we will not consider that. If o is not there, it's a possible answer. Okay, so here o is not there and x is there, so we can put a x here. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about the question. So first we'll be running a loop to check where all dot is there and in which rows and columns we have only dot. Okay, means o is not there, not only dot but o is not there. That we'll be checking first. That's the first step. Okay, let's write here, check for o. Okay, o, if o is there, don't consider that row or column. Okay, after you have got all the dots here, then what we'll be doing is in that we'll be checking how many x we have to put. Suppose that this is the row, this is the column. Okay, in that how many x we have to put? 1 2 3. Okay, we'll be counting and keeping that count. 3 here also, if we see 3 only are required, here also 3 are required, so 3 is the minimum count. If we check for here, right, 2 are there, we need to put 2x here to get the answer, like this one. So 3 will be cut and 2 will be considered. We just have to calculate how many minimum number of x we have to put to get the answer. In this case 2 is the answer. Okay, so that's all what we'll be doing in this problem here. So let's see the code. It's a bit complicated because I have just written from myself like very naive way. So we'll start from here. Okay, you can slightly understand what it is. If you get the logic, that's enough. Okay, we'll start from the code here. This loop I have written for taking the values. Okay, so 3 cross 3 matrix I am considering. Each I will be inputting the value dot x or o. Okay, here I will be getting the values dot x or o. Okay, either of these values will be inserted here. Then we will have the board. After that I am running this loop here for checking each of this column. Okay, that means each of this point if it's a dot or not. Okay, so here I am checking double for loop and I am creating a array here. Don't worry about this now. I am calling check board. What does check board do? I am passing the board which I have here and I and j, and this array I am passing here. What does this function do? In this function, start from here, what we are checking is in each row. Okay, here O is there or not, the first I am first passing this cell. Okay, this cell is getting passed. In this cell, what is the row and column? This is the column and this is the row. Okay, here we have dot means in this column is there any O, yes or no, that will be returned. And same thing for here also, we are using two for loops, one for the column and one for the row, in which we have O, that will be false. Okay, so this row will be false here and this column will be true here. Okay, let's mark it with green. This row will be true here for the first cell. Okay, so that we are checking here. X is equal to I value means both are 0, I and j, so x value is this one. This will be iterating, j will be constant. Okay, so this is 0 and 1, so let's mark the numbers here. Okay, now we are checking for this cell. Okay, next we will check for this cell, next we will check for this cell. In checking of these three cells, the thing which is constant is this one. What is this one? Column. So column will be constant here. We are checking for x of j, if it's O or not. If it's O anytime, it will become false. Test of R will become false. Okay, in the same way we are checking for y also. If I of y, what is I of y? I of y means I is this one and y is this one, that will be changing. Okay, here we have j's value as y and that will be changing. If any of the place we find O, test C will become false. So we are getting two values, one for the row, the test for the row if it's true or false, and test for the column, it's true or false. Okay, false means in that column or row O is there, and true means in that column or row O is not there. Okay, so we'll get that two values, false or true, and that will be assigning to the test variable, test array. Here we will have false or true for both of these and we will return this. Okay, so we have got an array in which we have the values if it's true or not. Okay, B will have the array in which we have the values of if this cells row and column are true or false. Based on that, what we are checking is if it's true. If it's true, then only we'll consider. Why? Because if it's false, then there is no point in considering that, because anyway we will not get any answer. Only when it is true, we'll check the answer. And what we are checking here, how many dots are there, right? How many dots are there, that we are counting, because that many times we have to put the x value to get the answer. That will be stored in count, and after that what we are doing is, if count is less than minimum count, we need the minimum count. Okay, so always we are checking if it's less than the minimum count. Always we are checking that if it's less than the minimum count or not. Okay, so whenever it's less than the minimum count, then only we'll consider less than or equal to. Suppose first time minimum count was 3, then it became 2, then we'll update the value of minimum count as 2 and then we'll proceed. And here it's just a map function to keep the values, like not to repeat the columns and the rows again. Like for example, what I'm trying to say is map of column j if it's 0 or not. Okay, so I have a map in which I'll have the column number. If this column numbers we have already considered, means I'll check for this cell, then I calculate like 3x are required, then I'll go to here, then I'll come back here, again I'll check 3x are required. This is not a new answer, this we have already done. So how we can know if it's already done? By checking the column. Okay, this column, if it's 0 means the map of this column, I'll map it to some variable here, like if it's 0 initially, we can consider. After considering that, we'll change this value. Map of column of j will become plus plus. So next time when we come here, it will become 1. That map value will be 1. So we will not consider this row. Okay, in that way we'll do for the column here, and we'll also do the map of count min count plus plus. Means minimum count, how much we got here, like for 3x, putting 3x, how many answers we got? 1 answer. Here also we'll get 1 answer. Same thing as how I did for the row, I'll do for same thing how I did for the column, I'll do for the row also. Okay, that is here, b of 1 is equal to true. In the same way, we'll repeat the process for all the elements present here. Okay, all the elements which are present here we'll do for that, and after that we'll finally output how many minimum count were there, minimum number of x to put, and how many such possible answers are there. But I didn't get the correct answer, there might be some issue here, but the main thing is we need to know the logic. Okay, so I hope so you got a brief overview of what is this program about, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.